What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today we have new Stardust support coming out over in the OCG. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. First up is Wish Converging Dragon. Light Dragon Tuner effect. 0 attack, 0 defense. It's a level 1. You can only special summon Wish Converging Dragon or dragons once per turn. Cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a majestic monster. This card's name becomes Majestic Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand. Then if you control a level 8 or higher dragon synchro monster, you can special summon one level 1 dragon monster from your deck. It's just there to help you get to your Majestic Shooting Star Dragon and all that. Because Majestic Shooting Star is like, I believe, a level 10. You don't have to play Majestic Dragon anymore if you wanted to play that card. That's what this card's for. Overall, it's not that great. It's too reliant on drawing it at the right time. It is a 1-for-1 target though, so that's cool. If you're really interested in playing the deck, that's all I can think about. Doesn't seem like it's that great. It does a lot, but it does. But the downsides and the fact that it's kind of like situational or more based on luck than anything to get off its second effect is not very good. Next up, Stardust Syncron. Light Machine Tuner effect monster, 1500 attack, 1000 defense. You can use its first and second effect once per turn each. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you contribute 1 monster. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck except for synchro monsters for the rest of this turn anyway. Also, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. If this is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap card that specifically lists the Stardust Dragon in its text from your deck to your hand. Okay, this card's pretty good. It's a synchron, which means you can search it with tuning. And it summons itself. So it's searchable with tuning. It likes to be in the graveyard and can summon itself back, so you can foolish burial it. So you can essentially, if you count, playing this with 3 copies, then playing 3 tunings, and then playing your 1 foolish burial, you can play up to 7 copies of this card. So that's not bad. It means you can consistently get to it. Searching, it also searches, which Ash Blossom is a thing. However, DD Crow sees play, so if you're summoning it from your graveyard, there's a chance that when you go to activate it, they're just gonna, DD Crow it. That's the downside. And if they don't have DD Crow, you can get Ash Blossom. So it does get stopped pretty hard by the hand traps that are being played at the moment. But that's just kind of the risk you take when you play decks. A lot of times you just gotta try to hope that your opponent either doesn't have it and just play through it, or just find a way to play through it. Overall though, decent card. Searching is always good. Next up, Stardust Trail. Light Dragon effect monster, level 4, 500 attack, 2000 defense. Its first and second effects are hard once per turn each. If this card is in your hand or a graveyard and a monster you control is tributed, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. If a warrior, synchron, or Stardust monster is synchro summoned using this card as material, you can special summon 1 Stardust Token, which is a level 1 with 0 attack, 0 defense. Once again, it helps you get to your Majestic things, which are level 10s. It works well with Stardust Syncron, because when you tribute a monster to special summon your Stardust Syncron, you get a special summon this as well. So that gets you into a level 8 monster that gets you to Stardust Dragon, which is cool. Other than that, and Stardust Dragon, and it gets you a token to get you to Majestic. You just need to get a level 1 onto the field after that, and then you're in business. Next up is the new Shooting Star Majestic Dragon. So, it's a level 11. The original one was a level 10. But, it's a level 11, 4,000 attack, 3,300 defense Majestic Dragon, plus 1 non-tuner monsters, including a Dragon Synchro monster, must first be Synchro summoned. Once per turn, you can negate the effects of one effect monster your opponent controls. For each Stardust Dragon and each Synchro monster that specifically lists that card in its text in your graveyard, this card can make an additional attack during each battle phase. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can banish this card until the end phase, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do that, you banish the card. So it has negation in, but at the cost of banishing itself. It comes back though. That's kind of like Stardust's thing. They come back, but they get rid of themselves. It's an OTK machine. That's pretty good. It can OTK and all that. It negates a monster and everything. And it says it must first be Synchro summoned. So, you can, like, if they get rid of it, if, it's properly Synchro summoned, you can, like, Monster Reborn it back, or summon it back through a different spell card or trap card called a Haunted. I know that card doesn't see play, but that's another card off the top of my head that I thought of that you could use to summon this back. But if you're making this card, you're probably going to try to OTK them. That's about it. I think this card's alright. I don't know it does a lot, but, like, it doesn't do, I guess, I don't know, I have issues with this card, because it seems like it's so hard to summon for, like, such a little payoff, and so, like, if you're trying to OTK your opponent, this card seems fine, because you can get multiple attacks off, and that's great. When you Synchro summon this card, you're probably going to get at least, like, 2 attacks, because it says an additional attack for each Stardust and each Synchro monster that specifically lists that card in its text. So what's probably going to happen is you're going to probably use Stardust Dragon to make this, and then you have, like, a 4,000 attacker that can attack twice, kind of like Quasar. Quasar usually attacks twice. There's ways to obviously get it to attack, like, 3 or 4 times, but, like, this one is most likely just going to be, like, you try to OTK your opponent. Next up is the continuous spell card Arriving Miracle. When this card resolves, you can place 1 level 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck on top of your deck. Okay, so that's specifically to get the level 1's effect off. So Stardust and Synchro monsters that specifically list that card in their card text cannot be returned to the extra deck, so they can't bounce it. If a Synchro monster or monsters is special summoned, you can apply one of these effects. You cannot apply the same effect of Arriving Miracle again for the rest of the turn. special summon one card, special summon one tuner from your hand. So they're not hard once per turns, but you can't get the you can't get that effect more than once. So like of each. So you synchro summon the first time, you draw a card. You synchro summon the second time, you get the tuner. And then after that, it just doesn't apply anymore. However, this is funny enough, this does work when your opponent, does it. So it's like kind of works like with TG Hyper Librarian. You synchro summon, your opponent synchro summons, and you can still draw a card. That's funny. Not a bad card, but it's continuous spell. So, and it's definitely meant to like set up plays rather than be proactive, which is kind of an issue. Like, you want your cards to really be proactive in the game, so that's pretty much my issue with it. Next up, Stardust Illuminate. It's a normal spell card, and they're hard once per turn each. You can send one spell or Stardust Dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard, or if you control Stardust Dragon or a synchro monster that specifically lists Stardust in its text, you can special summon that monster instead. Second, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Stardust monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1 until the end of this turn. Okay. So the idea is, this card's really good, because at worst, it's a foolish burial. At best, it summons just straight from the deck. Once again, Ash Blossom stops it, but it happens. And then it also like helps you get to your level 11 Stardust. So that's interesting. This card is pretty good. So if you're playing the Stardust deck, you're definitely playing this card. That's the way I see it. Next up, Majestic Absorption. It looks like the scene from the anime where it's facing Mech Knights. I think that's a Mech Knight. Anyway, Majestic Absorption, normal spell card. Activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can target one Stardust Dragon or Synchro monster that specifically lists that card in its text. Activate one of the following effects. Equip one face-up monster your opponent controls to that target. That target can attack directly this turn. Each time that target destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it inflicts damage equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. So this card, it does a lot, but the bad part is that it requires you to have a Stardust on the field, which you're probably thinking, oh, that's not so bad, that's the point of the deck. But you don't want dead cards in your hand. If your opponent stops you from making the required things, then this card's just dead. And you really want your cards to be more this is a proactive card, but you want them to, like, if they stop, they're not you don't want your cards to be required to do anything, or you don't want too many downsides in the card. And while the downside of this seems pretty small, it isn't, because you have to basically already be winning or comboing off anyway, and I feel like there's just better ways to do that. So if you have a Stardust Dragon on the field, you're probably synchro climbing anyway, and this can be a way to OTK your opponent with that level 11, because it attacks and destroys one of their monsters, deals 4,000 damage to them after this card, its second effect happened, or it's their last effect, because it does the initial battle damage, and then it does inflicts damage equal to the destroyed monster's original attack, which comes out to 4,000. It's basically the BLS Armory Arm OTK, but with extra steps. That's what this card pretty much does. It doesn't target your opponent's monsters, so the first one where you equipped it can get out of like interesting things, but that's about it. Next up, last but not least, Majestic Mirage. If a face-up Stardust Dragon or Syncron monster that specifically lists that card in its text leaves the field to activate its own effect or by its own effect, you can apply one of these effects. Also, you cannot apply the same effect on Majestic Mirage again for the rest of the turn. You special summon one of those monsters back immediately. You banish one monster your opponent controls or is in their graveyard, or all damage you take this turn is halved. This card is much better. Once again, it comes with the issue of not being super proactive, but at least it like kind of forces your opponent to be like, you can banish a card that doesn't target. So it's non-targeting banish, which is really powerful. Spellbook of Fate, for example, is still really good to this day. Special summoning the monster back is really, really good, because at least Stardust Dragon itself isn't a hard once per turn for the prevent destruction effects. And hold on, I don't know if the level 11 is or not. The level 11 isn't a hard once per turn either, so you special summon them back so you can negate something else if you want. So, and then the last one is you have all battle damage you take this turn, making it harder to OTK your opponent as well. You're making them, it's harder for them to OTK you. So, overall, what do I think about this new support? I think it is perfectly fine for casual play and people who like the Stardust Dragons and stuff like that. Personally, I was hoping for a little bit better support. Not enough to maybe, make the meta, but enough to make the deck seem a lot more exciting. None of the cards really jumped out at me personally, but you tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, whether you think these cards are not that bad, they're okay, or they're just some anime support that you guys don't care about. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday. If you want to send me equal deck profiles or replays, email is in the description. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.